Padre Lucifer. Renich Tasa. Renich Tasa. Piazza Icar Lucifer. I'm going to read a prayer to Lucifer, which we find in the Grimorium Verum. Lucifer, Oyar, Hameron, Aliseon, Mandosin, Premi, Oriet, Naidrus, Esmoni, Aparinesont, Estiot, Tumoson, Tanoshar, Hasmiel, Jairas, Fabeyeroton, Sodirno, Paetam, Venite Lucifer. Amen. Lucifer, 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 Lucifer. Salve Lucifer, salve Lucifer, salve Lucifer. Adiós Lucifer, adiós Lucifer, adiós Lucifer, gran emperador Padre. Reverencia a usted, Padre Lucifer. Abrimos la noche con Lucifer. Estos minutos dedicados a Lucifer, en el cual haremos oraciones a algunos otros demonios. Reverencia a la Santísima. Ave 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 la Santísima, Ave la Santísima, Ave la Santísima. Saúl, Baúl, Ledon, Adon, Zulet, Mikon, Luet, Dome, Omen, Neon, Odor, Garot, Santísima. Salve la Santísima. Salve la Santísima. Salve la Santísima. Santísima muerte, en su mano están cada uno de nuestros enemigos. Oración a Lucifugo Rofocale. Ayos, o Lucifugi. Numinos, divino Lucifugio Rofocale, Spirit of blackness, Lord over archfields, bestow your darksome blessing upon my spiritual path. Help me develop as a sorcerer and a psychic. Grace me with the communion of the infernal divine. Bless me with the possession and demonic mind. Salve Lucifuge Rofocale. Lucifuge Rofocale. Salve Lucifuge Rofocale. Agios Octinomos Dracosopia. Numinos is the underlying force of all demon magic. Salve Lucifugio. Salve Lucifugio. Salve Lucifugio. Incantación a murmur. Salve Ducis murmur. Agios murmux. Rex murmuliceae. Hail unto Murmux the Duke. Numinous is Murmur, the king over ghouls. Murmur, son of Hecate, I'll call you forth. Ducal, archfield and eternal demon of Sioshomancy, depart from the place of your dwelling, so that I may witness your greatness of power and be directed aright by the clairvoyance and discretion. In this place, if this place has become a dwelling of those who essay the hindrance of my progress, or those who would prey upon my spirit, or if I have constructed egregores which would enact my detriment, willfully or otherwise, I ask that you murder, devour, torture, and slaughter each and every fucking one of them. Upon this hour, accept them as a sacrifice to you. But if my sovereignty is unassailed by foreign spirits tonight, show me that I am safe by pouring power through my soul to engender evolution. I thank you graciously for your protection, for your evolution, which will signal my safety. Liftoach pandemonium et germidem murmur. Liftoach pandemonium et germinet mormo. Agios murmux rex murmuliceae murmux Matias daimon. Befamena murmur ayer salve ducis murmux. Befamena murmux 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 ayer salve ducis murmux. Somote bi. Amen. Murmux. 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 Thank you guys for joining me. 30 minutes with Lucifer. As you saw, we have invoked a couple of spirits, a couple of demons. Starting off by giving reverence to Lucifer, asking for Lucifer's blessing and supporting every single one of my rituals as a patron deity of mine, as well as La Santísima Muerte. Always asking him for their support. Did my nightly prayer to Lucifer Focale. Did a prayer to Murmuks. And I will go ahead and open up for questions, comments, if I'm able to see them. I can always answer after as well. I can also share with you guys in this 30 minutes to Lucifer. So common questions are, what are demons, right? Most people's knowledge or conception of demons is what we have learned through Christianity, or one of its many branches. So that is what most of us will be used to, the terms angels and the terms demons. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a definition. The definition of demon, or the word daemon: lesser spirit or god, a devil in Christian mythology, right? Literal meaning of the word demon: replete with wisdom. Derived from the Greek daimon, meaning divine power. I really like this definition because it gives you perspective. You know, in this practice, there is no heaven and hell as we know it, right? This is believed to be a Christian invention. So, there's different things that you can do, and I definitely recommend that if you're gonna enter this path, you need to be aware that there's gonna be a lot of doctrine that it's gonna be subconsciously in you, that it's gonna limit the ability for you to understand and to open up yourself fully to the obtaining of wisdom, spiritual growth, and which is the purpose of this, right? And we'll get to that right now. But there's things that you can do to renounce this dogma and doctrine that has been instilled in you since you were a child, because pretty much you're born into a religion. Often your parents, whatever it is that they practice, is kind of what they teach you. And most people will go to church because they have to. They'll participate in initiation rites such as baptisms and first communions and things of that sort. So every single one of these things, these rituals are significant. There's this fear in you, right? There's this belief in God, this practice, right? That if you had the choice to make as an adult, as a conscious adult, you might have a different perception of life. You might have a different desire of worship. Therefore, you may choose differently. One of the most important things to me is the fact that we are all, unique humans, and we have a journey, we have a mission, and we have a responsibility to get to know ourselves, to get to know our path, our mission, and our destiny, to understand what our purpose is. And when you are told things since an early age, right? You're told this is right and this is wrong. this is God and this is the right practice and this is the religion you need to follow. You're being told what to do, and you're pretty much doing it because you have to, not because you have this conscious decision to do so. So I think it's the job of every conscious adult or every mature person to go through that self discovery. And that self discovery might take you through different paths, and I think they all serve a purpose. So I think most importantly, respect and honor of the pursuit of wisdom and God is, it's something that needs to be respected and needs to be understood as part of human discovery, right, of self. Um, Obviously, you get to a point where you might question things and you might start looking outside of the box. That will open a lot of doors, and honestly, it's a lifelong journey that a person must embark in order to attain their purpose and their mission and to be aligned with their destiny. And I think that when a person is aligned with their destiny, they're going to be fulfilled. Now, I didn't say they're going to be happy, because that is another concept which might be um, something that has been instilled in us as the goal, right? To be happy. I think that the goal is not necessarily to be happy, but the goal is to be in alignment with destiny, purpose, and mission, um, for your life to be worth, right? Whatever it is that you're doing to have worth beyond material things. You're gonna live moments of happiness and fulfillment, and you're gonna live moments. I think the majority of moments that a human being lives, no matter how much money they have or what they have or don't have, at the end of the day, most people are living their own type of struggle. The reason for this is that growth hurts. The human being was born in this, in this planet, in my opinion, to learn and to grow. And that is the purpose of demons, to help us through that, to help us connect with, with those truths that we need to discover within ourselves, to empower us, to help us go, rid of fears, confront fears, make changes, grow, learn to become a better version of ourselves. Um, Therefore, at the end of the day, that should be the goal. And there's going to be a mix of feelings, emotions, and experiences, which some are going to be very pleasant and some are going to be maybe not so pleasant. Where we have tower moments, where we have, working the shadow, right? And, really doing some healing and discovering who we are, right? So every single one of these things it brings us this discomfort. And I think that the sooner that we get to accept the discomfort of life, the more pleasant the life will be, because we'll remember each time that at the end of the day, we're in a journey and there's a purpose to our journey, right? And I think purpose brings a big fulfillment. A purpose brings a big fulfillment to one's soul and life and spirit. So I think that is the ultimate key to happiness. But this whole concept of happiness is something that we need to look into and analyze and see, like, well, you know what? This is something that has been engraved in our conscious subconscious. This is what we've been told. Same with religion and dogma and doctrine. So, my opinion is that, as a child grows and becomes an adult, every single human being has this inner desire in the soul to pursue something. Some people don't have that desire, and they have a very material life, and that is their purpose in this life, perhaps. But eventually, maybe at old age, they'll start waking up to a degree and start, asking some questions, looking for their truth, whatever their truth is. um, Me personally, my journey, started very young. Again, I was raised in a Christian home, Catholic home, Protestant home. I was exposed to Judaism, and eventually I was exposed to Kabbalah. I feel that once I was exposed to Kabbalah, spirituality, meditation, numerology, astrology, and these different various sciences and arts, I kind of, my mind was very open to a lot of things, right? I feel that I have benefited a lot from all these practices, all these world practices, learning from the Mayans, studying Buddhism, and really taking those teachings to heart, have helped me a lot. to get to this point where we go full circle and what we thought was once thought was bad, right? Which is another word it's another tricky word, that we have this definition for, right? What's right or wrong, what's good or bad. When we comes to working with demons and being exposed to that, to me is like, wow, like I really needed to grow and mature and get to a certain level in life to be able to be open to it. And there's a lot of getting rid of doctrine and dogma that I have accepted by force since a child in order for myself to grow in this path. So there's things that you can do, like have you can do rituals are out there that you can reject, renounce the Christian religion, renounce Jesus, renounce your baptism, renounce everything that you were taught as a child. Start fresh, start clean, and you should be doing rituals and ceremonies to accept beliefs that you're fully aware of what you're doing, fully conscious of, right? So those are things that I see that are very important for us. Going back to the definition of demons, as you guys can see from the definition of the Greek word, are beings that are full of wisdom. One thing that I've always been attracted to has been wisdom, and I think that is that door, that desire is what led me down this path, right? To now be in synchronicity, in association with, close to beings like Lucifer, right? These beings, demons, these spirits, these entities, these gods, these are beings of wisdom, of light, of understanding, of knowledge, right? And obviously, we're in a system where a lot of times the knowledge and the truth and learning and growing and thinking differently has been looked as something bad, as something that is not convenient for the system to function and be able to continue to raise groups of sheep that are just gonna follow instructions or just follow the herd, as opposed to thinking outside the box, thinking for themselves and looking to grow as people. So definitely understanding the self, understanding the importance of your higher self, your conscious, the power within you, understanding that you are a god, understanding that you are a being of light, and that your pursuit of wisdom is key. Those are very important concepts that really change your life and the way you see things. For those that have joined me, I again started by giving honors and respect to Lucifer, to la Santísima Muerte. I did a nightly prayer that I do to Lucifugero Focale. I did a prayer to Murmux or Murmur, which was a prayer in order to condemn and offer those that wished bad upon me, have wished bad upon me, acting against me, as an offering to Murmur, in order for him to take care of these enemies. And right now I've been sharing with you guys, some words, sharing some words. Make sure you guys support. I appreciate any support, any sharing or any likes or any comments or questions and things like that you want to leave behind. Those are much appreciated in order to engage, right? To engage with each other and to learn, to continue to grow, and spread the word. So we got tobacco for La Santísima. We got red candles in this ritual, this 30 minutes with Lucifer. We have incense, so I have charcoal burning, and I am burning pure copal, pure residue from the oak tree. Not processed or anything, literally taken out from the tree. So it's the purest incense. Some of the best instances that you can use are those pure instances, church incense and things like that. And what you can do is you can consecrate it for demonic work, right? For left path work and satanic work. You don't need to, it doesn't matter that it is Christian. You just pretty much have to, um, you know, change its nature for the work that you're doing. I also burn some Nag Champa or Dragon's Blood, um, California Sage by the brand Asatia, which is a great incense. My favorite, absolute favorite. So we read some prayers from for Lucifer. We read some prayers for La Santísima, a channel chant. We went ahead and read some prayers for Lucifugero Focale and more. In this 30 minutes with Lucifer. I wanted to see if there was something else that I could share with you guys. Let's see if there's any other demon we can talk about. Ooh, Phoenix. Interesting. This is the 37th spirit of the Goetia, the 72 Goetia demons. Phoenix, he is great marquise and appears like a bird, like a phoenix bird. Having the voice of a child, he sings many sweet notes before the magician, which he must not regard, but eventually he must require him to assume human form. Then, if required, he will speak marvelously of all wonderful sciences. He is an excellent poet, and he will be willing to perform your requests. He has hopes also to return to the seventh throne after 1200 years. More, as it is said unto Solomon, he governs 20 legions of spirits. Luna and silver are the metals. It rules from 1 degree to 10 degrees Aries in the night, March 21st to the 30th. The tarot card is the Two of Wands, which Two of Wands. I have my, I don't know what tarot you guys like to use. There's a couple tarots that I like to use. There's a tarot that I use the most, but I also have the Goetia. You might not be able to see. The Goetia tarot. Tarot is pretty good, but the Book of Thoth and the Tarot of Thoth, it's the main tarot that I use, but I think it is somewhere else. But we can look at the Two of Wands. Speaking of tarot, very important. I know that most people are used to thinking of the tarot as a way for us to predict the future and things of that sort. It is a divination tool, yes. The two main divination tools that I use are the pendulum and the tarot. Before my practice of demonology, I practiced Ifa, Santeria, Palo, things of that sort, Spiritismo. So I have various forms of divination, right? Such as the coconut and different other ones. Those are close practices. Those practices require initiation. The beauty about this is that this is an open practice to everyone, right? So the Book of Thoth and the Tarot of Thoth are very good tools. I think it's one of the best things that Aleister Crowley left for us. So the Two of Wands speaks of dominion. This card pertaining to Chokmah in the suit of fire. If you guys are familiar with the Sephirot in Kabbalah, the Chokmah is it means wisdom. It represents the will in its most exalted form. It is the ideal will, independent of any given object. for pure will, unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result. It is every way perfect. The background of the card shows the power of the planet Mars and its own sign Aries, the first of the signs. It there represents energy initiating a current at force. The pictorial representation of two Dorjes cross. The Dorje is the Tibetan symbol of the thunderbolt, emblem of celestial power, but more of its destructive than its creative form. More that is, in its earlier rather than its later form, for destruction may be regarded as the first step in creative process. The virgin ovum must be broken in order to fertilize it. Fear and repulsion are therefore the primary reaction to the assaults. Then, with understanding of the complete plan, willing surrender rejoices to cooperate. 6 flames issue from the center. This indicates the influence of the sun, who is exalted in Aries. This is the creative will. Mars in Aries is the attribution of the geometric figure Puer of the signs, the equinox. So a little bit on the Two of Wands, right? That's pretty good. You got the dominance card. Pretty nice, right? I'm gonna write down in my journal, in my notes, because Phoenix has been coming out a little bit. If you guys do not journal, I encourage you to journal, take notes. If you guys often have dreams, take notes on your dreams. Not every single dream you have is gonna be some sort of fantastic spiritual thing, but it is very important to keep track. You'll definitely know when something is mystical, spiritual, worthwhile when it comes to dreams, but definitely having a journal if you are a dreamer, very important. But just in general, one of the best recommendations that I can do in general for a human being is to have a journal and to journal things, journal thoughts, emotions, experiences, thoughts, ideas, inventions, songs, poems, anything that you that comes to you, right? You got to remember, we are like a supercomputer. We are blessed with many gifts and many talents that it is our job to discover. So it is definitely super important for you to be able to write down and journal. So that's definitely something I consistently do. Going back to tarot, like I told you guys, most people are familiar with using tarot for divination purposes. Now, it is one of the divinating tools that I use, but I don't use tarot to predict my future and things of that sort. I use tarot to learn about myself. One of the practices that I can recommend is grabbing your tarot, separating your 22 trumps, and using those cards in order to learn about yourself. So as you shuffle that, in whatever way you want to do, you shuffle it, and then you pick a card, and then you write about that card. You write the definition of it, the definition for it. Again, going back to tarot, preferred tarot, I enjoy using the Tarot of Thoth by Aleister Crowley. That's a very good one for me. I also have the Goetia, and I use that to learn more about the demons. Sometimes I use it to accompany. There is a Tarot of Santa Muerte. There's your classic tarots. Whatever calls your attention is super important to, you can put that into play. As you develop and as you grow, you might have changes in taste and things of that sort, right? But these things take time and practice. Every single day that you do a ritual, every single day that you do a check-in, every single day that you pray, every single day that you summons, every single day that you pull a card of the tarot and you write down about it, that's another day that you got to learn something new. So that's something very, very important that I definitely recommend. Any questions, make sure you put them in the comments. I assume there isn't any questions because I don't see them here. I think otherwise I will see. I do see who has joined or who is actually watching. This page is relatively new. I honestly, I go on and off from social media. But I started building, I don't know if I started building this page this year. I think so, or maybe the end of last year, but I think I opened it this year. It's been growing more recently as I've kind of solidified my niche. I went live for the first time last week. I know some accounts have limitations on going live. You need a certain amount of followers. So I assumed, which goes to show you shouldn't be assuming, you should be finding out if your account is able to go live. So I actually tested it and it worked. So I'm happy to be able to go live. I've shared with you guys a ritual, two rituals so far, in which I downloaded into separate clips. You can find that on my page, and you're able to see as I'm going through the steps of the ritual, and also practicing divination to see if it has been accepted. Um, and again, if I will be downloading clips of this live most likely and posting them there in order for you guys to be able to go back and see. Not entirely sure yet how to reshare and things of that sort. You know, it doesn't seem to stay on your feed, it seems to disappear. But yeah, if you guys are joining me, we have, you know, Q&A open. We started by giving our respects and giving our reverence to Lucifer, to La Santissima. We did a nightly prayer to Lucifer Focale. We did a prayer to Murmur. We talked so far about the definition of the word demon. We talked about rituals that you can do to reject the religious dogma that was imposed on you in order for you to free yourself from it and be a little bit more open into this practice. We talked about the tarot, you know, my perspective on tarot and how I like to use it, and the tarot that I personally liked. And we actually went into the Aleister Crowley Illustrated Goetia book, and we opened the page randomly. We picked up Phoenix, and that represents the Two of Wands. And this demon, we read about it, and the card that is represented in the Tarot of Thoth is actually the card Dominance, which is, you know, based on the things that we're doing right now, some of the rituals that I've been doing lately, that resonates. Dominance is definitely what we're looking for. Speaking of rituals, if you guys are doing a one ritual and you're walking away from it, you might not be extremely super satisfied with the results. What I recommend is that you solidify your ritual by repeating that same ritual maybe 3 days in a row, right? That's just giving you a little bit of some perspective. One beautiful thing about this is like this, like open source. This is like an open book, a live document. You know, that every single person into demonology, every single person in the left hand path, every single person in this beautiful way of life is able to contribute something to future generations. Is able to contribute something by pulling out wisdom from the sources of wisdom, right? If you guys are curious about the incenses I burn, I like to get pure incense. This is straight copal, straight incense from the tree sap. I think is the sap from the oak tree. I like to burn that. I also burn the little cones from the, for example, Nag Champa or dragon's blood, to bring that sweetness and that strength in the incenses. So going back to Phoenix, I think it was a 37. Yeah. So the book of Goetia, okay, this tarot of Goetia, it's 78 cards. Looking into this, I'm going to read to you guys what we have to say about Phoenix. Phoenix is the 37th spirit or demon, okay? It represents the Two of Wands. It talks about enterprise, okay? Enterprise is the meaning. The nature of this card is complementary forces. So very interesting. Again, going back to talking about how the tarot explains a lot about your present and what's going on, right? In this situation, we're, you know, summoning Lucifer, La Santissima, Murmur, you know, Lucifer Focale. So what we see here is, besides from my tip about doing your ritual more than once, maybe 3 times in a row. Also, very nice to be able to have an arsenal of demons that you invoke. Okay? So, Phoenix, again, talks about enterprise, complementary forces. It talks about the moon, right? It talks about Libra as the zodiac sign and the planet being the moon. Okay? Very nice. As we saw, we read the book Luna Silver. So Phoenix number 37. If you guys want, we can go ahead and pick another one out. We got Foras. Foras is a president. 31st spirit is Foras. He's a mighty president and appears in the form of a strong man in human shape. He can give the understanding to men of how they may know the virtues of all herbs and precious stones. He teaches the arts of logic and ethics in all of his parts. If desire, he makes men invisible, some texts say invincible, to live long and to be eloquent. He can discover treasures and recover things lost. He rules over 29 legions of spirits. 1 degrees to 10 degrees Aquarius during the day. January 20 to the 29th. Planet is Mercury, and the metal is Mercury. 31st spirit for us. Again, I'm taking notes because we don't know how this will be relevant later. But we can read about it from the Goetia Tarot. Goetia Tarot for us. Page of Swords is the card. The meaning of this card is intellectual learning, right? We've been talking about intellectual learning, and we talked about the definition of demons, right? They're beings of wisdom. They help us through our growth. Unpractical knowledge is the nature of this card. Mercury is the planet. Virgo is the zodiac sign. And the traditional card associated with this demon is the Five of Swords. So yeah, I also read you guys earlier a prayer to Lucifer from the Grimoire Verum. You guys are familiar with the Grimoire Verum. What I've learned in the beginning when I first got into this, exposed to this, I started getting myself as many grimoires I could. It's actually very interesting that the first grimoire I ever got was the Grimoire of El Papa Honorio, which is believed that he was the author of it's very Christian. The Keys of Solomon, right? Very Christian, Judeo-Christian. Talks a lot about evocation. So we're talking about forcing demons to show, forcing demons to present themselves and do what we want. That is not the practice that I do. That is not the practice that I would teach anyone to do. I got Goetia Illustrated. Goetia Illustrated is a very good practical intro book. Again, talks about evocation because it's very based on the Solomonic way, but definitely it's something that everybody should read. What I would do in order to get a little bit more on the path would be the complete book of demonolatry, right? By S. Connolly. S. Connolly has a lot of books, a lot of work, a lot of dedicated time to teaching basics in the modern era that we live in, to understand better the concepts. So definitely something to look into, but everybody paints their journey differently. I have the Grimoire of Armadale. I have the True Grimoire. I have, Dogma and Ritual, right? I have books on the Sefirot and Kabbalah. I have Pactum. I have different grimoires, different books that I've read, that I've learned from, that I've compared to each other. And honestly, to be honest with you, I think that once you start walking away from this Judeo-Christian way of dealing with demons and understanding them, this Judeo-Christian way of invoking them or evoking them, very important to understand the difference of invoking, which is summoning a demon to come, and evocation, which is actually forcing a demon to come by threatening to either use specific holy names of God, and burning sigils, or punishing them, or trapping them in a bottle of some sort, and things of that. I don't think that there's any good in that or any need for that. We're not trying to um, approach demons from that perspective. We're more looking in order to work with them to grow and to learn, uh, and to continue to excel. So what we do is we partner up with them and we treat them with respect and we honor them. Again, these are beings of light and power and wisdom. So it's important for us to, be very respectful. Other practices that are very important is introducing yourself to the different klipot. The klipot will be the tree of life, which is the sephirot. It's the same thing. It's one and the same. It just happens to be, if you would say, the dark side of it for simplicity of terms, right? Um, but again, we don't want to look at the dark side as something with negative connotation. No, it just happens to be light and darkness. You got to remember that um, light and darkness are complementary. So these are different aspects. They're, sephirots um, are ways to achieve certain things, and the klipot are ways to achieve the very important human mission that we have in order to become a better version of ourselves is going to be achieved through being initiated through those different realms of the klipot and be able to build yourself upwards. Sephiroth works a lot with angels, whereas the klipot works with demons. And again, once you look at angels and demons, you're looking at two sides of the same coin. In a way, like if you look at Goetia, you're looking at the 72 demons of the Shem HaMephorash, you're looking at 72 angels, and 72 demons. The 72 are based on the divine names, different transmutations or formations or groupings of the letter, the four-letter word of the name of the Creator. All right, again, according to Judo-Christian path. Do we need to go down that route? Do we need to immerse ourselves in all of this Kabbalah? I think having all of this Kabbalah as a background, a foundation, helps to open up yourself to this and see a lot of the pieces fall together, but it's definitely not necessary. Um, whatever path you're entered into, it's going to be your entrance. That's the door you walked in because that's what was accessible to you, because that's what made sense during the time, because that's what you enjoyed or what attracted you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's always going to be the path. There has been so much change in my life, so much change, honestly, like so much different doors that I've opened and crossed through, that it's crazy that once you look back and see like, wow, I remember when I used to believe in this or practice that, and just to see where I am and to go full circle is super interesting. It's really an amazing thing. So I think we're gonna close this live. We're gonna go ahead and close this live. We open with Lucifer. We're gonna close with Lucifer. We're gonna drink the rest of our liquid in a chalice. The remainings of the ashes of the work that you do, the incense during your ritual and stuff, it's important for it to go to the earth. Whether it is your garden, front garden, back garden, nature, the hill, the mountain, wherever it is, honestly, don't complicate yourself, but have it go back to earth. Very important. Renishta sao beraka, biasaika Lucifer. 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 Thank you guys.